Hello again, everybody. Daniel Feuerstein here for Beyond the 90 as the U.S. men's national team fall to Panama late in second half stoppage time. 1-0. And for the United States, their attempt at a four-peat of winning the CONCACAF Nations League has come to an end. Cecilio Waterman from a, I would say, a pretty good angle, um, took the shot and tucked it into the far post, beats Matt Turner to the ball, and that, my friends, ends the reign for the U.S. men's national team reaching the CONCACAF Nations League finals. You know, as I sit here thinking to myself, what happened in this one? What was wrong with this game for the U.S. men's national team that they had at least the majority of the chances? They were basically attacking, had some moments to convert chances. Either they were denied by the post, they were stopped by good defending, they put themselves off sides to wipe out a goal. Uh, give their goalkeeper Mosquera credit for making some fantastic saves, especially against Patrick Agjiman, who had a great opportunity as a second half substitute, who I thought changed the game. Um, Not much, but he did do enough to be dangerous to try and convert chances. And at the end of the day, we have our U.S. men's national team going to the third place game on Sunday early evening. What can you say? Thomas Christensen, and no one gives him the credit of what he's been able to do against the U.S. men's national team. What Thomas Christensen has done as head coach of the Panamanian men's national team has been unbelievable, and at the same time, he's put them in a position to win a trophy. Now, they haven't won a trophy yet. They have an opportunity now to win their first Nations League championship, depending on what happens between Mexico and Canada. But I have to say, ever since this man took over for Panama, he has been the thorn in the side of our men's national team. Now, the last game against Panama last year in October was that friendly down in Austin at the Q2 Stadium. And that was Pochettino's first match against Panama. And Christensen didn't know what he had against him. I mean, knows of Pochettino. He knows he's a top class manager from Argentina who has done amazing things in Europe at Tottenham Hotspur, at Chelsea, at PSG, and in other places as well. And this is his first international stint as a head coach. So, you know, how many times are we going to sit here and let's see here. How can I say this? How can we sit here with all these so called experts saying no MLS American players on the U.S. men's national team, only Americans who play abroad? Well, let's see here. Let's see here. Let me think. Yes, let's see here. Um, he's done it to the U.S. men's national team in the Gold Cup when it was mostly American MLSers. He's done it to the U.S. men's national team when it's been majority European players in the Copa America. Oh, and today he did that to a combination of European and MLS American players in the Nations League semifinal. So what does that tell you? if you are a so-called expert that you think you know more than what's going on. Well, I'll tell you right now, folks, you don't know a damn thing. You don't know a darn thing at all. Because you want to know why? Because Thomas Christensen, no matter who is the head coach of the U.S. men's national team, either pathetic Greg Berhalter, at the time, B.J. Callahan, and now one of the best managers in the world in Mauricio Pochettino. Pochettino made some errors, ladies and gentlemen. He did not adapt. He did not make the necessary substitutions to go out there and to at least force the situation. Now, as I understand, Giovanni Reina, of course, is on the roster, and yeah, I wouldn't have started him. I would have subbed him in. He only used 3 substitutions. One of them was an injury substitution to Chris Richard and brought in Mark McKenzie. Not his fault. Ajiman comes in for Josh Sargent, and there was that other sub for Tanner Tessman. At the moment, the name escapes me. I'll probably look it up real quick and take a look. But I don't have a problem with those substitutions. He just didn't make enough of it. Now, whether he was saving it for extra time, you're going to get an extra sub anyway. So, you know, I don't think the game plan was wrong, but at the same time, even though you're knocking on the door, you haven't really barged in enough, have you? And so for Pochettino um, right now, with this roster, and I understand there were injuries. I understand Anthony Robinson is injured and could not be on this Nations League roster. And you know what? You as a head coach, you got to find a way to make up for that deletion, for that man missing in action due to injury. And all I can really say is that I don't think he did enough. He tried, and good on him to try, but it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. And it just really, really bothers me. It just really, really bothers me how Mauricio Pochettino is supposed to be, an excellent manager. And he is. But in this case, he was not. And you even have South American journalists who are watching what Pochettino's doing with the U.S. men's national team, and even some of them, maybe one that I know, said, "I don't know what he's doing." So that's really much an indictment on this match. That's an indictment right now of this match of what the hell is Pochettino doing? We're confused. We don't know. Why is he not doing what he's supposed to be working? What did Panama do? A low block. 5 defenders, 4 mids, and an attacker. And when you're low blocking, what else are you doing? You're suffocating the passing lanes. You're clogging up even the shooting lanes. Christian Pulisic had nowhere to go in the entire 90 minutes, no matter what he did with the ball. When you have a low block against a national team that wants to be free-flowing, run and gun, what's going to happen? You're going to get stopped and you're going to get stomped. And they got stomped at the end. All I can tell you is this, is that no matter what was working, no matter how much it looked like they're going to pry through and maybe score a goal, they put themselves behind the 8 ball all match long. Unlucky for Josh Sargent, he had a goal. It went off the defender, then off the post in the first half. He had a goal taken away because Tim Weah was offside. And then Ajiman just, there's nothing you can do about that one. Once again, great save by Mosquera from Panama on Ajiman. And then, of course, he had that other opportunity, and he just missed. And then, of course, Tyler Adams tried to go for distance, for power, and he just bent it wide. So all I can really say is this, folks. Not a good performance at all, as a whole. There are some decent moments, I thought Sargent had a good start, but it just wasn't completely good all match long. I thought Weah was lacking, and I thought Pulisic tried his best, but it just wasn't good enough. And this men's national team, look, regardless of what you may think about the CONCACAF Gold Cup, that tournament is up next now. Now you have to hope to win third place on Sunday against either Canada or Mexico. But I will say this, you got to worry now about the Gold Cup in June, and you also have to worry about the World Cup next summer. You got to hope that you got to get Jedi Robinson back out there, Anthony Robinson. You got to get him back out there for the Gold Cup and have him ready to go. You can't mess around. You got to win a championship regardless. And if you do face Panama, then you really got to break them down. You really, really have to break them down. Good job once again by Thomas Christensen. And as someone who watches CONCACAF, like myself, I watch CONCACAF all the time, whether it be either Champions Cup, Nations League, Gold Cup, World Cup qualifying. You have to be aware of your opponents in your region. Look, I understand this is not the strongest region in the entire footballing world. I understand that. I'm not saying you have to be afraid of British Virgin Islands. I'm not saying you have to be afraid of Antigua and Barbuda, afraid of St. Vincent and Grenadines. You have to be afraid of the U.S. Virgin Islands or the British Virgin Islands or Aruba, Cayman Islands. But when you got to play outside of Mexico and Canada, you got to take on those Central American countries like Costa Rica, like Panama now, Honduras, Nicaragua, Guatemala, and the two Caribbean nations in Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. Even though Trinidad and Tobago has been hit or miss, most of the time miss, you cannot take them for granted. You cannot take these nations for granted. And Panama now has become an up and coming power in the Central America zone in UNCAF. United Nations of Central American Football. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Panama is now becoming a power. They've been slowly becoming a power in Central America. Known for baseball all their lives until now. And look at what they've done to the U.S. men's national team. They've done it to B.J. Callahan, even though at the time, look, B.J. Callahan, I give him credit for what he did when he came in as the interim, won the Nations League. He's going to be a great head coach in the future. Right now, he's just getting started. Greg Berhalter was a complete disaster. And as great as Pochettino is, he was just outcoached by Christensen. Christensen, once again, took what he needed to take from the friendly loss against the U.S. men's national team down in Austin, and he put it to work in a match that was important because you're playing for a trophy on Sunday. They're going to be now hopefully 1 for 2 instead of 0 for 2, but we'll have to wait and see who their opponent will be, either against Canada or Mexico. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. But until then, this is a very poor result for the U.S. men's national team. Now you have to look at the Gold Cup. Forget about getting out of the group stage. That should be the easiest thing to do if you do draw Panama. But you probably won't, because they'll be in the same pot as the U.S. men's national team. But once again, folks, this is a very, very poor result. You give credit to Panama. You give credit to Thomas Christensen and how his team played. That could have been extra time, except it ended in second half stoppage time on that one moment of brilliance from the Panamanian national team and Cecilio Waterman. Join me and Carter Krishna and other writers as we do more videos on articles and information about lower level soccer in the USA. More coverage of the U.S. men's national team, the U.S. women's national team, the Open Cup, CONCACAF events, and many, many more here at Beyond the 90. Myself, Carter Krishnaiyer, Alex Ashton, the Rooster and the Villain, Brett Mullenix, and many, many more. My name is Daniel Feuerstein once again for Beyond the 90. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you are listening to this video or listening to the audio from this video, we are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Once again, I'm Daniel Feuerstein for Beyond the 90. Thank you very much and have a good night.